Hey folks, Jordan and
Emma.
with TYT and TYT Politics. I am here in beautiful Los Angeles with Emma. We're right outside the Young Turks studio where the mothership is live right now, so we're in direct competition with them, obviously. And we're here this week. We're doing videos from here, having meetings on TYT Politics. Nomiki is here. Michael Tracy is here, so the new reporters for TYT Politics, coming up with a nice little plan on how to dominate corporate media and the establishment. So stay tuned for videos from all of us. I'm going to be doing some things with Michael, Nomiki. I think I'll be on the main show as well, so it should be grand. But Emma and I don't get to be together a lot, and we're usually arguing through text all the time, so we figured we would debate right here outside TYT. So Emma, I saw a story over the weekend. A new California Senator Kamala Harris, who has been called a progressive. I'm a little suspect about that, but anyway, she is saying enough with the Democratic purity test. We shouldn't have a purity test, especially for vulnerable Democrats running in the South. In conservative districts, we should not primary them from the left. We cannot afford to lose so many Democrats, so we should not have a purity test. And before Emma tells you what she thinks, I will tell you what that means. What that's translated is just let these people take money. We cannot afford to lose them. Just look the other way on these people, because if we lose our seats in the South, which is hard to come by, Democratic seats in the South, then we're even more screwed than now. So, AKA, what a purity test means, no, we're not dating, but thank you. But what Kamala's saying is, please, Jordan, please, progressives, please, Bernie Wing, leave us alone, let us be corrupt, because we gotta win. Am I getting anything wrong?
No. It's funny that this is considered a debate because I agree with Jordan.
No, we're going to debate.
We're going to debate. So, a purity test can be one thing and can be another thing. So, my purity test is maybe more lax than Jordan's, I would say. That's where most of the debates come in. It often centers around one specific senator, and I think you can guess, Elizabeth Warren, who has the most liberal voting record in the Senate, but, whatever, Jordan thinks the words speak louder than her actions. I don't really know what that means. But yeah, I disagree. I think Kamala Harris is trying to cover her own ass because she did not go after big banks when she was in power in California. She is a progressive in kind of words only. She doesn't really have that much to back it up. But I'll give her a chance. She's a freshman senator, and she seems to be the darling of a lot in the Democratic establishment, which should have everyone wary. And the words that she's saying about not primarying corporatist Democrats, especially in the South, where Bernie Sanders and even Howard Dean, before Obama came into power, talked about a 50-state strategy. That's incredibly important. I want strong progressives in the South. I don't want these, Frank Underwood-esque Democrats down there. I disagree with her.
Are you saying that the Southern Democrats are throwing people into trains?
No, I am not. Yes, I am saying
That's
that.
Frank Underwood.
Yeah, exactly. I know the reference, but. Yeah, I agree that with Jordan that there should be a purity test on that front. Kamala Harris seems to be kind of sucking up to the Democratic establishment in that way.
So let me explain what these people mean when they say enough with your purity test. And I get this on Twitter a lot because I like to get in a fight here and there with cable news anchors, kind of fake progressive writers, fake progressives in general. Hi, Neera Tanden. What they mean is, Jordan, progressives, Bernie bros, stop calling us out on being bought off because we cannot afford to lose. That's what that means. So if by purity test they mean taking money from Wall Street bankers, taking money from big oil executives, taking money from pharmaceutical executives, taking money from some untoward tech Silicon Valley people, that's not a purity test. That's called expecting your representatives to represent you. So yes, if that is a purity test, I have a purity test. No, we're not married. We're not dating. How many times do I got to say it? Emma, I'm not going to drop the veil. Emma's dating someone. He's a very nice guy. I'm still single. So, ladies, just telling you, I'm single.
Yeah, my boyfriend loves these comments, by the way.
Yes, so she's dating, she's taken, we're not dating. But, so really what Kamala Harris is saying, what the establishment folks on Twitter are saying is, don't hold us to a high standard. Because if you hold us to a high standard, what about Trump? What about the Republicans? We're not going to win. Unite. So unite, when they say we got to unite, and they yell at me for being critical on Democrats, what they're saying is don't hold us accountable. We agree on that.
Yeah, no, and look, like, looking at a voting record and saying that, oh, I agree with how this person has voted, and then backing that record up with looking at their donors, it's often a direct correlation. So saying you're going to primary corporatist Democrats means I expect you to vote on your donors, which is how things trend. That's holding people accountable. So Kamala Harris, when you're primarying conservative corporatist Democrats, that's not weakening the party. That's making it stronger and more ideologically sound. But she wouldn't say that because she is backed up and is a favorite in 2020 for the same DNC that just refused to take corporate money out of their party. And they just elected Tom Perez over Keith Ellison, the more establishment choice, who, by the way, is more conservative than President Obama. President Obama instituted that lobbying ban in 2008, and Perez says he refuses, and the party voted to back this up, to block corporate money and lobbyist money from the DNC. That was an Obama era, an Obama initiative, and he's more conservative than him. Is that what we need?
Here's where the debate comes in, because my friend Emma here, Emma is a little bit more, I'd say, gives the benefit of the doubt to some progressives who have been letting us down recently. I don't want to revisit history because we've had our debates on Elizabeth Warren. However, I think you have to be progressive when it matters, not in photo ops, not in hearings at Congress when you could blast executives of big banks, but when it matters the most, when the rest of the world is silent. For example, Dakota Access Pipeline, when Elizabeth Warren was silent. But let's make it broader than Elizabeth Warren. I have a problem with Bernie Sanders, who I love dearly. I know you're watching, Bernie, standing on stage with Chuck Schumer. Not because I'm petty and Chuck Schumer is a vile fake Democrat, but when Bernie Sanders stands on stage with someone like Chuck Schumer, when you do that, the people in the audience who are not die-hard politicals like Emma and I, and don't know that Chuck Schumer is bought off, might say, oh, that Chuck's not a bad guy. Bernie's standing with him. And, they're up holding hands, fighting together. So when you do that, it's one thing if you play ball with the Chuck Schumers of the world or the Nancy Pelosi's behind closed doors. But when you're standing on stage with them, when you're sending out press releases with them, that's where I think it's a problem. So that is my purity test. I don't think people like Bernie or any hardcore progressives should be publicly working with people who are neoliberals and essentially are Republican, but a little better on social policies.
Okay, what is Chuck Schumer's incentive to work with Bernie if Bernie is not giving him the political capital of standing on stage with him?
But Bernie had all the leverage.
Okay.
Bernie had all the capital.
Chuck Schumer's going to get reelected in New York, guaranteed, with all that corporate money. So what is his incentive to work with Bernie? And Bernie had, and they're a minority in the Senate and the House.
What is his incentive? Because working with Bernie, that's the only way you have a shot at bringing in our viewers, millennials, the blue collar workers you lost.
They've made it clear they don't care. So Bernie wants to get his agenda through. You have to sometimes work with people who and give them what they want, which is a photo op with Bernie Sanders in order to get the ends that you want.
Right, but you're telling me that Chuck Schumer's main goal in working with Bernie is to get a photo op?
His main goal is to use Bernie and as a part of the Democratic establishment to further along the Democratic Party. That's why he gave them that ceremonial role.
Wrong, in my opinion. Chuck Schumer's main goal in standing on stage with Bernie, in asking Bernie for his email list, see, Chuck Schumer is aware the Democratic Party's brand, if it even has one anymore, is very, very harmed and damaged. So basically, he wants Bernie to rehabilitate the corporate Democratic establishment's brand
Yes.
for them. Chuck Schumer, basically in hiring Bernie as the outreach chair, is essentially saying, all right, Chuck, and the rest of the gang, we're going to still take the money, but Bernie will be doing the outreach. So he'll shield us from taking the money, and then Bernie will bring in the millennials and those lost blue-collar workers, so it's a win-win. We don't have to actually change anything, but Bernie, we're putting Bernie out there so it looks like we're for the people. The problem where I think you're underestimating it is when he's publicly working with them, you are essentially, yes, Trump is bad, we need to fight Trump, but you're essentially, by extension, when you work with him publicly, you are rehabilitating the Democrats. So, okay, you're going to take Trump out. Who's going to be inserted in to replace Trump? The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the Cory Bookers of the world.
But the issue that you and I have always is you're focusing so much on the politic optics of it all. The only thing Bernie has ever cared about is the legislation that he's going to push through. We don't have the Republicans are, from dog catcher to president are in power right now. Bernie is taking the Chuck Schumer wing with him because he wants to prevent disastrous policy. You said 14 million. I just read from CNN 24 million people are going to lose their health care. Like, as much as I want the progressive movement to move forward, I don't give a shit about the progressive movement if many millions and millions of Americans are hurt along the way. And that's the same thing that Bernie thinks.
No, I think you're confused about what I'm saying. I don't care. My problem isn't that he's like the photo op with Chuck Schumer. Bernie could stand on stage with fucking Trump for all I care if it would get my goals and your goals done. It's not the fact that he's physically standing on stage with Chuck Schumer. The problem is everyone is laser focused on Trump, which is correct. I mean, the guy's a maniac. I even underestimated him on some things. I didn't know he was going to be that bad on the environment. But the problem is you have to think about, okay, but yes, you have to work with Chuck Schumer and establishment Democrats, whether you're progressive or not. Government is compromised. You have to work with people who are not exactly as hardcore as you. But the problem is, if you have to think long term, who are you then, and what do we have after Trump? If Schumer is going to be the one that we're working with, or Nancy Pelosi is going to be the one, you are putting forward those people as the better alternative. Are they better than Trump? You put a gun to my head? Yes. But the problem is, for the progressive movement, we're not getting our agenda. Wait, I didn't cut. Yeah. We're not getting our agenda through if we tell millions of Americans or thousands of people that show up to a rally, this guy, follow Chuck Schumer. Because believe it or not, people that show up at a Michigan rally to see Bernie and Chuck Schumer, not all of them know about Chuck Schumer. Not all of them know about the establishment Democrats. Some of them are just there because they're afraid of their health care being lost. So I agree. And also, I don't think Bernie publicly working with the establishment is actually pushing his legislative goals through. I don't. I think what Bernie is doing, and by the way, not to pull rank, I have some sources in Bernie's office. What Bernie's doing is Bernie genuinely believes that if he brings his army together, that he could bring some of the Chuck Schumers of the world over to his side. I disagree with him.
Okay, so, Bernie has you say Bernie has the momentum, but you're saying it takes away from his momentum if he's standing on stage with Chuck Schumer.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying by Bernie, forget Chuck Schumer for a second. When Bernie is out there publicly working with the Democratic establishment, right? Basically what you're telling voters is I am united with these Democrats, and these lawmakers, we're on the same side. The problem is, when you do that, eventually Trump's poll numbers are going to dip, folks. I mean, I don't want to make predictions, but it's gonna hover around the 20s or teens at some point. Eventually, you talk politics. You have the 2018 midterms. You have the 2020 election. Who you get in bed with politically, you are strengthening them, and by them I mean Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, these people. So if I thought, Bernie working with Chuck Schumer is going to get us closer to universal health care or, free public college tuition, I'd say work with whoever you want. That's fine. Okay. But the problem is, I don't want the Chuck Schumers of the world. I don't want more of them being the alternative to Donald Trump, because then we're just back to where we were under Obama.
Yeah, but you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Like, you call me an incrementalist. Fine.
I never said that.
Yes.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Yes, you do.
Wait a minute. Do that again. She's pointing at me.
I'm mansplaining.
Wait, 1 second. By the way, I have had it up to here with these fucking people with the mansplaining. a man talking with a woman and giving his opinion is not mansplaining. It's just talking.
He's just older. He's just elderly splaining.
And by the way, Emma, you could tell when she first started and she would get loud or something like that, she'd say, "Oh, I think I'm being too aggressive." I said, "Fucking speak louder." So I am all for females being loud, proud, and just as aggressive as me. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay. So I come from and I don't mean to drop this on Jordan, but I loved political science. I liked studying it, and I think that and he's throwing up. I think that there's something to be said for having a background in political science. As much as we can talk about a revolution, every revolution begins with legislative victories, and you can say, "Oh, I want this X, Y, and Z right now." But we are closer to universal health care. Wait, stop. We are closer to universal health care. We got the Democrats, many more Democrats since Bernie came into the race to endorse single payer and a public option. We also, Hillary Clinton, once she had all those concessions, once she won, including that really good college tuition plan for people making less than $128,000 for families with under $128,000. Yeah, that's not going to solve everything, but it is closer. We are better off than we were before for the progressive movement, and I know that may not be popular with the audience, but I'm telling you guys the truth. Like, that's how change comes about.
But we agree on that. I don't think you're getting my point. We agree on that. What I am saying is from a political strategy. It's not me being petty like, "Oh, I just hate that Bernie's on stage with Chuck Schumer." Stand on stage with Mussolini if you want, if it gets me universal health care. My point is, strategically, if Bernie Sanders lends his image, his brand, and he's on stage with Chuck Schumer, or he's at press conferences with Nancy Pelosi, you are putting the establishment in the position to take power when Trump falls down. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I don't believe, by the way, Bernie sitting and working with Chuck Schumer is going to get us to significant progressive policy. I think what's going to get us to significant progressive policy is uniting the progressive movement against real fascists like Trump, neoliberals, and applying maximum pressure to elected lawmakers, i.e. what the Tea Party did in 2010. Now, I don't want to be the Tea Party in terms of the racism and the big fat Billy guts, but I want to be putting pressure on establishment corporate Democrats. I don't think you do that by publicly or out in the open working with the Chuck Schumers. It's not because I have a problem with him standing with Chuck Schumer. I feel that there's a threat that he is putting the Democratic Party back in the position for success, electoral success, and that just gets us back with neoliberals in power.
My last point is that, hey guys, my last point is that Bernie Sanders was known as the Amendment King, meaning that he was able to slip more legislation into shitty corporate legislation than anyone in his entire history in both the House and the Senate. You can look it up on PolitiFact. He's been taught. He touted that in his campaign, and it's factually correct. I trust his instincts in terms of moving the progressive movement throughout this corporatist party more than I trust the Rage Against the Machine aspects of a lot of, like the more emotional aspects of the movement. And I disagree. I agree. I see what you're saying about it being politically incorrect, but I mean, not politically incorrect, but politically.
But we agree on
misstep.
what you're saying. We agree about. I'm not saying Bernie Sanders should not work with these people. We're talking about the fact that he is publicly and openly.
I think you're overstating that.
Okay, well, if you are just a political person who does not watch politics all the time, you're just going to a rally because you're worried about your health care, right? Mm-hmm. If you see Bernie Sanders on stage with Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Dick Durbin, whomever. Wouldn't you, we're almost done. Wouldn't you think, oh, okay, these guys are good. If you're not political diehards.
I think that there's a difference between Chuck Schumer and someone who's actually going to get out of power in the next 2 or 4 years. Like, Chuck Schumer is the leader of the party and also is going to win until he dies.
Okay, folks, there you have it. Comment section, Emma or Jordan. We for our egos, we need to know who won. And by the way, it's not very nice to say I look oily, okay? It's the sun on me. I don't have any zits that I know of. Do I look oily?
No, you look phenomenal.
I know I'm being a little vain, but the trolls, that's how you get to me. Call me oily because I don't like big oil.
I
You
have
know
a
me.
meeting.
Jordan. Oh, I'm getting a lot of Jordans. All right, folks. Emma has a meeting. I think I made my point. I think she made it. Great points too. We're going to be doing more debates this week and more segments together. But thank you for watching. Go watch the other videos that are up today. We have a great video. Actually, it's a montage showing the Democratic Party's failures, as well as my reporting from the Native Nations rise and others. So thank you very much for watching.